Hi Zen, how are you?
Hi, War. I'm good. I'm good.
EMERZEN and I, to my subscribers who don't know, we're neighbors. As in literally, I can count the number of steps I would take to go to their house. So we live across each other's. So if you would agree with me, Zen, we were raised by our parents like relatives, like cousins, like
Yeah,
siblings, right? It's
that's so true. That's so true.
Because we're really, really very near. And I
Uh,
considered your father, Nong Bibi, and of course your Mami Salet as really my second parents. And of
oh
course,
wow.
siblings as really very close friends of mine until now. And what do you miss about Sani, our, of course, our home barangay, and of course, Philippines in general? What are some of the things that you would like to share that you really miss about the Philippines?
Yeah. Sangi is really my home. That's where I grew. I had lots of memories there. Um, the family, the friends, the circle of friends that we come together. Say, when I play with basketball with my friends there. Yeah, and also the get together with the families. Those are the things that I miss of Sangi, and especially my home.
I also remember that your father, nung baby, was holding a high-ranking position in the company he was working for. And
Hmm.
I think there were years when you had to live in the Atlas compound, right?
Yes, yes,
How many
that's
years,
so true.
how many years did you stay there?
Um, we've been there for a lot of years, but then even though we already lived in the Topan,
Mhm.
inside the compound, we still get a time to every weekend to go there to Sangit because we've been missing our friends there. Um, we moved to the compound when I was, I think, in the high school. So basically, uh, my elementary years and early part of my high school were from Sangit, so I really miss Sangit a lot as
Yeah,
well.
no.
Aside from yeah, and the friends, so, of course. So every time I come home to Sangit, I always go to my friends and play basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you can still remember, I studied very near our house. Like I studied elementary in North City Central School, and then in high school I attended secondary school at Toledo National Vocational School. So it's very near. It's very convenient for me to travel to and fro the school. But in your
Mhm.
case, especially when you haven't stayed at the compound yet, you had to travel, right? From
Oh yeah.
Tangi. It was like a 30-minute travel.
Hmm.
Was there a point that you had to complain that why do I have to travel every day for 30 to 45 minutes to go to school? Or were you exhausted or something like that?
Yeah, I really feel tired during those times, to the point that sometimes I fall asleep in the jeepney, and when I go home, I'm not stopping in front of our house, but sometimes in the what we call the esquina, the corner. Yeah, yeah.
Have
And some other people also be waking me up. Hey, you're already home, or something like that. I experience those things because I really feel tired. But I'm still blessed to go there. Yeah.
uh, really paid off. It's really worth it because you became a DOST scholar. Tell me about the DOST scholarship story.
Yeah, it was really a blessing that I was able to graduate from LaSalle and able to pass the DOC scholarship. And with that, I was able to take the BS Physics program of the University of San Carlos. And yeah, it is really a blessing that I became a DOC scholar because that's also the reason why I was able to go into teaching.
Yeah, that's good. Do you still remember that letter? Because I also passed the DSP scholarship, and I remembered, although I didn't really pursue that because my
Mhm.
aunt, Mama Daddy, really told me to just be a teacher first before you become someone else, before you focus on different vocation. So
Yeah,
I did not really take that offer. But I remembered when I passed the exam, I received a letter from DOST
yeah.
stating that letter mentioned about the possible schools and the courses that I will take. And
Mhm.
I already lost that letter, but it was really special to me. It was like a memento.
Yeah, it is. Because there's only a few of us who received that letter.
Yeah, exactly. Do you still have that letter? I think I lost it to a calamity or something. Do you still have the letter from UST?
Me, no, I don't have it anymore.
Of course not, because well, you were already busy. So after college graduation, so again, you finished your bachelor's degree is really BS Physics.
Yes, yes.
And what stream did you choose for your DOST scholarship?
Yeah, actually, when I graduated in LaSalle, I took up the DOC scholarship. And now you would like to go away from there from them. It's really hard. It's
And to
really hard.
add to what you have said, at that time, it was, virtual communication is not a thing yet. It's really, really
Oh
hard.
yeah,
You have to
yes,
have
yes.
family.
So true.
Only communicate, what, sometimes or rarely.
Yeah.
And is that the reason why you opted at that time to apply as an educator, as an instructor, or as a teacher at DepEd Toledo University?
No, after I thought that I could never land a job in the industry, so I ventured in the university side, where I can be a a physics instructor, somewhat like that. But then it was only Subunorma, I think, that tried to interview me for that because I don't have any experience at all during that time. I had zero experience, and you know what? In Subunorma, you have at least to have a master's degree
Yes.
before you can get into Subunorma. So I was also turned down during that time.
Mm.
So I went down because I went from the top. So I didn't make it. I went second from the top of my choices, huh? And then I still didn't make it, but it was only supernormal, I think. And I think UC, I remember UC. But again, I don't have experience. So I think it was your Mama Ladi that talked to my dad about trying me to be into the depth ed.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I never thought about it. As a matter of fact, it was never in my dreams to be a teacher. Never. Even when I was a little kid, I liked to become my father, to be an electrical engineer. And I don't know, maybe God led me to this one to follow his footsteps, to be like Jesus.
Mhm. So at that
Yeah,
point,
be a
Zen,
blessing to others.
at that time when you had to undergo the screening and the application process, you were not really very comfortable doing that at that time.
Oh yeah, sure. I was not because, as a matter of fact, in the very first place, I am not a teacher. I didn't grad. I didn't have an education degree,
Mm,
and we don't have education units
mhm,
as a physics student at the University of San Carlos. So it was hard. So I had to juggle teaching in daytime and being a student in nighttime at the University of Visayas. I'm proud also to be a part of UV Toledo. Yeah, 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 yeah. To graduate, to have those 18 units of education and allowed me to take the professional licensing for teachers.
mhm.
Yeah.
But I
So
realize that since you lack job opportunities for a BS business graduate like you,
mhm.
so being an instructor of physics or a science subject could be really an option. So that's why you
Yeah,
resorted to just giving into the suggestion of my aunt and
mm,
most probably to the motivation of your parents. Um,
yeah,
so since you are a DOST scholar, you are a DOST scholar, you
hmm,
you are, how do you call that, Zen? There is like one of your benefits or one of the privileges of being a DOST scholar is to have, how do you call that, like an item, like a
yeah.
guaranteed item in the government service.
Uh, I didn't realize that until a few of my friends told me that you may want to try DepEd because being a graduate of being a DOC scholar, you have slots or items there in the DepEd. And I, as far as I remembered, there were four during that time,
Mm.
and we were the very few. I think I was one of the pioneers during that time that had the slots. That even though I don't have the degree, I don't have the license yet, but I was accepted as a provisional teacher,
Mm.
having a
Because of
provisional.
that scholarship.
Yes, yes, because of that DOC scholarship, it was a privilege for me. And but that provisional teaching was for 2 years only. That is to take those 18 units of education, including the taking of the test or the passing of the test or the licensing.
What year was that, Zen, when you were hired by DepEd? Can you still remember?
Yes, yes. It was clear in my mind. It's still clear in my mind because every time you fill up anything, it's right there in your resume.
First day
Yeah, it's
service,
about January 30, 2003.
January 30, 2003.
Uh-huh.
You're a DOST scholar. You were still asked to ensure that you should have taken the education units in
Yes.
2 years. You should have
Uh-huh.
the units in 2 years, right?
Yeah, but I was expecting supposed to be to teach at Toledo Science Side because I was a DOST graduate scholar. So I was thinking that I will be landing there, but the Lord sent me somewhere else, which it was also a blessing that I was there. And those memories can never be replaced.
But you didn't
We,
understand at first, but you realized later on that, okay, there was a silver lining in what.
yeah.
So after, okay, so you succeeded in finishing the education units at UV Toledo.
Hmm.
And then again, despite the scholarship, you were still asked to take the licensure examination for teachers.
Yes, yes. Because before you're able to be in depth ed, you should be able to be a passer for the,
You have
yeah.
passed the board exam for teachers in the year 2005. I think
I think so. Yep. I
around
think
2005.
somewhere in that
Of
year.
course.
Or no, no, no. Or about 2004, summer of 2004.
And where were you stationed?
Oh, I was stationed at General Climaco National High School, also known as Kasoy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very proud to be a part of the team there in General Climaco National High School.
I
Yes.
have very good friends at General Climaco National High School. How was your
Mm,
experience at General Climaco National High School? You taught there for 2 years. No,
3 years.
3 years.
Yes. From 2003 to 2006.
What are
Yeah. Actually, three and a half. Uh-huh.
what are the standout memories?
Oh. Um, you know what? Everything that happened are for a reason,
Yes.
and for a reason, and then yeah, I had also a lot of good memories there at General Climacan. As a matter of fact, it taught me how to be an educator.
So after 3 years, what happened after 3 years at Kasoy?
Yeah, within those 3 years, yeah, to be honest, I applied uh, for schools downtown, like Luray, Sansai, and vocational school. But it just so happened that it went 3 years, but nothing changed. No movement. So I was thinking that I think it's high time maybe to venture somewhere else here in the United States.
High school is definitely a perfect station for you,
Oh
considering
yeah.
the course that you have finished.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, you had that experience in Cebu City Division. You know,
Hmm.
okay, so I had
Yeah.
frustration, but then again, you said everything is really a blessing in disguise. So, how many years did you teach at the Cebu City Science High School?
Oh, I was able to teach there for around uh, 7 years.
For 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. And it is there that I became a master teacher. And I was able even to pass the NQuest. Are you familiar with NQuest?
Mhm.
The National Qualification Exam for school heads.
Wow! Like,
Yeah.
is that the principal's test, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow!
Yeah,
Congratulations, son. You're unstoppable.
yeah, yeah. It was in 2012, and then I waited for a year, and again, you know, the depth way sometimes it's not that fast enough. So I waited for a year. There was no movement as well. So I went to Cebu Normal.
Mhm.
Yes,
So, what did
for
you
a year.
What do you mean? You taught at Cebu Normal
Yes.
University for 1 year?
Uh huh. As
Congratulations.
an ILS student teacher mentor in the ILS.
I see. CNA is my alma mater. I finished my BSc degree there, so I'm so proud of you to have been given the chance to be part of the faculty. My goodness.
Oh yeah. It was also a blessing.
And what's the
Even
reason?
though, even though you know what,
Uh,
I have to go down to teacher two
and wait
level
for the next ranking, right?
because I was already a master teacher in science high, but then I had to go down level two instructor, level two teacher,
Yes.
teacher two, teacher. I think that's teacher two.
And then I'm just curious, how many months did you have to wait before you can be re-ranked?
Oh no, it's not only months. You know what? I don't know if I am not just contented because uh, a year also passed, and then there was also not movement there. As a matter of fact, it was not only a year that there was no movement there. At CNU, a lot of faculties have been waiting for the ranking so that they will be going to where they're supposed to go through their educational qualifications. But during that time, it was a little bit slow. So and then there's a friend of my wife who's also a co-teacher before when I was still in Sansai, who introduced us about the hiring of teachers in the U.S. So she was the one actually who was told by her friend But because she told me and she doesn't want to apply, so I told her I'll try it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So how did the interview go? How did the American employer interview go?
Oh, it was so quick. The interview happened around sometime August. I think August 20, something like that. And then they told me I can go. So October, imagine August, then September, then October. I was told that of the schedule of my flight, but then it was delayed because my passport has to be renewed, and the processing of the passport doesn't take that fast. So it took me around 6 weeks at least to have my passport ready. So it was moved to around first week of November. So I left there November 8th of 2014.
And
Yeah.
after three kids, three children, three wonderful children, and three in 6 years of teaching in Texas. So, what's your plan? I mean, do you still see yourself teaching there in Texas 5 years from now?
You know what? It all depends on God's plan. Because right now we are still on a working visa, and anything can happen along the way, especially with the transition of a new president or the present president here in the United States. We don't know what it holds for the immigration, and we're just praying that we can still stay here for hopefully for good. Yeah.
Planning to be American citizens? Are you planning to apply for
Um,
residency
dual,
card,
dual.
dual
We're
citizenship?
planning to have, yeah, dual, so that we can just come and go.
So, what are the lacking entities? What are the lacking elements? I mean,
The green card.
for 6 years already working as an educator,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
what are the things that you still have to do or to fulfill before you can apply for the dual citizenship?
No, it's because we started with a teacher exchange, which is a J1 visa, and having a maximum of 5 years. But we didn't maximize that because we only were having the 3 years. And then after the third year, we applied for a working visa.
Mm.
And that working visa will have a maximum of 6 years. And then within that process, we have to apply for the green card. But it's a case basis depending on the district and also on the state on how long will they start before they will start applying for the green card. Some cases they will start immediately, especially for those far-flung counties here where nobody's gonna be teaching. So they immediately start. Like in Arizona, New Mexico, they immediately start the processing. But for us here in Texas, our school district requires us to have a tenure of 3 years at least before they're gonna start the processing of the green card. And yes, in God's blessing, we just started. Hopefully, it will run smoothly and quickly.
Okay, and then one of the exciting things that I'd like to talk about is your being a vlogger. So
Mm.
there was a time, I think that was like 2 weeks ago, I read your post about inviting us to subscribe to your channel. So I'm
Yeah.
so happy to read that post because I mean, I can really feel the life of a vlogger and the passion and the happiness that I can really feel when I upload an episode, when I do an episode. So, what gave that spark for you to create the vlog?
Yeah. I used to use YouTube videos in my discussion, especially this time of the pandemic that we're doing virtual learning. So I just download them or copy them as a link to my classes. However, it came to my mind that I think I can do this. So with the use of the gadgets that we have nowadays, I was able to demonstrate through the video on how to solve those math problems. And hopefully that will also help our students there in the Philippines. That was not my intention only for here in the United States for my students, but also for the students there in the Philippines as well. Because I know a lot of them are complaining about the modules that they are getting, and they're not understanding anything at all. So hopefully that thing. It was not my intention to be a vlogger, but I would just like to share that to the Filipino students as well, because I know the topics that we have here is the same topics that we have there in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, we are just blessed there in the Philippines because we train our kids not to use the calculators. We are not dependent with the calculators. But here in the United States, a lot of kids are so dependent with the calculators. So
Exactly.
that's why I also showed them, showed there in my channel about how to use those kind of calculators. And if you can imagine, if a student or a kid there in the Philippines is being given that calculator, it's really expensive. It costs around 10 to 20,000, especially the most recent ones. 10 to 20,000 a piece of that calculator. So we really cannot do that.
Yeah.
But we are smart. We look smart because we can solve using our heads only.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
That's one of the qualities of the Filipino 21st century learners.
Yeah.
So Zen,
And
so
I
from
don't. Sorry, War, but I don't want also the depth ed to pattern that way here in the U.S. that they are introducing those calculators to the kids, because that's not really to me, huh? That's not really helping them. That's letting them become dependent on the calculator. But using the brain, the analytical skills will be gone if we will have our students use those calculators. Unless, of course, for um, higher high school or senior high school or college, because it's where we have now the chemistry, the physics. That's where we start to introduce the calculator. But to the younger kids, no, it's not really a big deal. Yeah.
we're actually similar with our motivation to create the vlog. Because
Mm-hmm.
first, my reason for creating the vlog is to at least offer instructional videos related to my subject to students,
Yeah.
especially those who are stay at home. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of watching YouTube videos of other teachers,
Yeah.
I realized that it will be better. They'll be more interested if they can see their actual teachers in the video.
Mm-hmm. And it becomes more personalized to them.
Zen, since
Yeah.
you are in a cultural exchange program, I understand that you are required to share the best practices in the Philippines or the culture in the Philippines. How many times do you do that? Or is there really a subject intended for you to share the Filipino culture? Or
Um, it was only for the first 3 years of my teaching here that we had that, and we shared those little cultures of ours, like the sinolog.
ah,
As a matter of fact, I was the one who initiated here in the Sinulog way back in Virginia, and where we were located.
ah,
And then we organized the Sinulog there.
like the
And
street
then good thing, it's a blessing also the Cebuanos there
ah,
also supported us in the uh, conduct of the Sinulog.
and I was really when the pandemic took its onset, then I was also worried about, of course, the people that are really close to me who are in the US, like my Ate Aying and my Mama Ladi and Auntie
Mm.
Lynette. And of course, that would definitely include you. And I'm so
Oh,
happy that you're surviving and now you're back on track. You're back to school.
yes.
You're back to school early, right?
Hmm. Yeah, we're back to school. At first we started with virtual. We started virtual for a month, and that's also one thing here in the U.S. because even though not a lot of students have internet, the carriers do provide some help, like free internet or providing mobile hotspots.
Mm.
So
Were you, were you still in a virtual class then? It was frozen, right? The education was frozen for 5 months, 5 to 6.
yes, yes. Uh-huh. No, but even though during March we still have March, April, May, we still have 3 months during that time. But we made sure that there was continuity with the education. So even though they are at home, we are giving them some work to do.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't really frozen, even during.
It's not really frozen then.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So every week we give them something that they will be working on because a lot of school districts here have to buy some software or website or yeah, so that we will be able to use them for our students.
Enjoy, Sam. Thank you very much for sharing
No problem.
pages of your life's book. I'm sure it would give pointers to so many people. Those are planning to also acquire a visa to work or cultural
Yeah.
exchange program, like me. So hopefully, I get to see you and your family, your wife and your children.
Yes.
Are here in
We
the
have a tour over here.
there, be there. So we don't know what the
We'll
future.
tour Houston
Yes.
and San Antonio. Yeah, there are a lot of beautiful places there in San Antonio.
I know because Ate Aying also lived there in Houston before. So thank you very much and take care, enjoy, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
And
Bye. Thank you. I hope that's good.